Hello everyone and welcome to Mill Something Pretty. Today I have these really cute Easter boxes to show you how to make. They are a cute little box, and so you can fit jelly beans or some chocolates, or if you have like a little small Easter treat to go inside. I think they would look nice if you're having Easter dinner and you could have one at everyone's place setting, right on a plate with the napkins. I think it would be really nice. And so to make the boxes, we're going to use the Everyday Details, the nest from the stamp set. Oops, but also I'm going to use this largest die to make our boxes. So these are all the dies. They're awesome. I love them. Used them tons already, so they're great dies. So I just wanted to show you where they came from, and I've already done some of the prep. I've cut 2 of that largest die, and so when you use this die, it makes all these fun little polka dots, but also on the part that remains you get polka dots, so you can use kind of both sections. But for this project I'm just using the part that gets cut out. And then we're going to use some more. This is soft seafoam, and so I pieces here. I'm going to show you how to cut and score for the inside of the box. And then I'm using just a small piece of paper. I think it's from the Softly Stippled. It's a celebration paper. You can use any paper you want. And I've already stamped on vellum, so it's had to sit to dry. I use Pretty Peacock ink, and I just did it on some vellum. All right, so what we need is our trimmer. Let me move this aside for a second. And I want to show you how I figured out the size of the box that I needed. All right, so what I did is I kind of just took my ruler, and it's easy on a rectangle. I'll show you some other shapes that I've done as well. So you just kind of figure out, what size box you want. So that's like, I want it to be 3 1/4 wide, and then 1 3/4 kind of tall. Well, not tall, but for a box, for dimensions. And so what I did was I did the 3 1/4 by 1 3/4, and then you decide what depth you want. So this box I just made 3/4 inches tall, but you could, if you wanted it taller or shorter. So I did 3/4 inches on that side, 3/4 inches on that side, and so all 4 sides. So this one I don't know if you can see, I've already scored this one. So that's that box side, and I have 3/4 inches on either side. So that is how I got that. All right, but what we need to do, so excuse me, so this is 4 3/4 by 3 1/4, and you need 2, right? You need one for the top and one for the bottom. So I have 2. I've already scored 1, but I didn't score this one yet because when you have a box, you need it to be able to close on top of each other, right? So one really needs to be a little bit bigger than the other. And so rather than give you the dimensions for the 2 different sizes, I've found that it's easier to cut 2 of the same size. And then I'm going to take just one of them, and I'm just going to use this first line. So that's a 1/16 of an inch. And I'm just going to cut that off. Oops. And then I'm going to flip it to this side and cut that off. So really by shaving off its tiny pieces makes a big difference, so then I can put the top on top to the bottom. And so now I'm going to score. So the height will still be the same. It's just kind of, circumference is the wrong word because that's for a circle, but using my math skills, the area maybe, I don't know, like the inner part is just a little bit smaller, and so that way the smaller piece will be the bottom piece. All right, so now, and it doesn't even matter if I forget which is which because I know one's going to be a little bit bigger than the other. So now I'm going to cut. So they're both scored, so I'm just going to follow the score line here until stop here. Do both sides. That one, and I'm going to do this one. Right up to that score line. Okay, and then I'm just going to fold. I'm actually going to crease it a little bit better than this, but I just want to see. So I fold it so that's where my cut lines are. Here we go. Give it a better crease mark here. So this is, it's really a basic box, no frills. I'm not even doing any notching. It's a basic box. We got one more side. You can use a bone folder. I find actually this kind of works better for my hand. All right, and so now we're just gonna glue these two together. So we're just gonna put the box together just like that. And I am gonna use my multi-purpose liquid glue because I think that is the best adhesive ever, especially for boxes because it's very strong and sturdy. And just make sure your angles are at right angles, that 90°. And I'll do this side. I find if I just lift that part out and then I put a little glue here and a little glue here, and then I close it, it works. Now, because I didn't do any notching, I have a little bit that is up. It's not too bad, but it's not perfect, and that's okay for this box because you're not going to be looking at it open. You're going to be looking at it closed. All right, so then I'm going to do this side the same way. Okay. Just pay attention to those 90° angles. You want this line to be nice in alignment with that score line. All right. There we go. All right, so those are, I can even tell which one's bigger. This is the smaller one, so the bottom and the top. Just gonna let them sit to dry for a second. So we're gonna take these two. You may, I thought I poked all my little holes out, but you may have to poke out some of the holes from them. So we're going to, I'll just start with this one. And actually, let me see, you might be able to see it better if I use this. All right, so I'm gonna lay this flat. I have the right side up, so you can kind of see that's the wrong side and that's the right side. Then I'm gonna take my bottom and I'm just gonna put glue on the bottom of the box and do my best to center it. Just gonna lift this up so I can see better. Sometimes I have the camera right at my head, so it's hard for me to see. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. Then I'm just gonna take the bottom of the glue and then press it down, but I should close it. That was a mistake. We'll use that glue up. Put your cover on, and then use it just to press down. Okay, so there is the bottom of our box. So for the top of the box, what I found is I actually going to put this right on top, close it, and then put the glue on here. So we're kind of doing, oh, actually I was going to use up this glue. I was kind of doing in reverse. All right, glue here. Cover on, and on the same thing, right side up, right, because we want to look at all the right sides and place that on top. And I'm just going to move this so I can see it. You want to do your best to kind of get it in alignment. Give it a little press, and then what I'm going to do is open it up carefully because it's not quite stuck yet, and then press in there. So you can do this method with lots of shapes, so other rectangles. I made these two, and I didn't bring up the dies yet, but I do have the stamp. I have the stamp set. The Thoughtful Expressions has really cool shapes that go with this stamp set. So you can kind of see these are the shapes, and they're nesting shapes. So there's different sizes. There's one that's excuse me, a little bit bigger, and then there's smaller ones. And I think there's one bigger than that one too. And so I did the exact same thing. I just figured out kind of the dimension. It was a little harder, a little trial and error to figure out what I needed, kind of that base size. And then this one's even taller. I made 1 inch versus those are 3/4. And same thing for that. So you can kind of make these boxes out of lots of shapes. So they're kind of fun. All right, so now I'm going to put this back together and we'll just decorate it, right? So I'm going to put this on top. I have some of these holes didn't come up. There we go. So I'm just going to glue this, and I just measured. I think it's actually the same size as the box base. So whatever size you want. I could have put this on before I attached it to the box, but it works fine doing it that way. And then we need to decorate it even more. So I have that nest, and I have my Memento ink because I'm going to use Blends markers to color. I'm going to ink it up good. I think I actually recently re-inked it, so it should stamp well. Oh yeah. And then because the dies, these are the dies that go with this, there's no cutouts to the picture, so we will be cutting that out with scissors, but it's easy. So I'll just show you how I colored it. I just took a light old olive and just did the leaves, nothing fancy, just filled them in. I think that's all the leaves. And then look how easy this is. This is crumb cake. My crumb cake is going to have to be replaced, and there's not a lot left in there, so it's kind of light. So I just kind of went with the curve of the nest. If you want to have a little wisps out here for the branches, you can do that. I'll set that aside. Then I'm going to take the darker crumb cake, and I like to turn it upside down because I can see this part better. So the inside of the nest is going to be darker. Like that. And then I'm just going to take it and again follow along, not get them all, and like that's it for the nest. Pretty easy. And if I miss some, you can always go back if you wanted to color in a little bit, but it's fine. And then I'm going to take Pool Party, and I'm going to start with my light. And you can see it's not colored perfectly. I left some white spaces on purpose because sometimes eggs are different colors, different hues, you know, and different, these ones might have a little speckle. So now I'm taking the darker Pool Party, and I kind of went with the direction of that line. These shade lines go in the opposite direction, so I'll color in that way, like that. But then I'm going to put a little bit dark on the other side. Maybe I'll put a little here. And if you want to have it speckled, you can even take your crumb cake and add a little bit of speckle. And so it's not finished, but that's what it looks like. So then you take the lighter Pool Party, and you want to do it while it's still wet, because then that's where the blending happens, is when the colors are still kind of wet. So after that dries, you'll have speckled. So if you want to go back, you can add a little bit more. Like if I wanted, I think this needs a little bit more crumb cake in there. And then you get kind of colored eggs. All right, so then it cuts out real quick. I'm just going to leave a white space around the branches. I keep my scissors in the same place, and I move my paper. So you can kind of see my left hand is moving the paper, and my right hand, for the most part, is staying in the same place. I just find that easier for cutting. And so again, I'm leaving some white space around those branches because there is no die, there's no perfect way to cut it. I think if you also leave white space around it, it's less tedious. I think it gives a nice little border. All right, get that out of the way. So that cut out pretty quickly. So then we're just going to add some dimensionals. All right, so I'm going to place that not quite in the center. I'm going to lift it up a little bit so I have room for my words. And like I said, I had stamped that in vellum and I just let it sit overnight to dry. You can, if you want to speed it along a little bit, you can use a low setting on your heat gun, heat tool. All right, so I'm going to turn it upside down. I'm going to, because the vellum is see-through, which is why we like it, I'm going to put a glue dot kind of in the back side of that E, because it's a bigger letter, in the back side of that A. So if I flip it over, if I look really closely, I can see it. But once I attach it, it's just gonna disappear. So now you can't really see it. All right, so there we go. So here are my Easter boxes. Now I have 4. I think who I'm having over for Easter. May have to make a couple bit more. All right, so I hope you liked the project. Like I said, these are located in the 2024 Occasions catalog. These dies are just awesome. So even if you don't get the stamp set, you can use the dies with tons and tons and tons of things. So I think that's one of my favorite things on the new catalog. And again, I'll just put these here in case you wanted to see the other options of boxes. So thank you very much for watching. I am Christine Josti of Mail Something Pretty. If you are not receiving my emails yet, please go over to my website, mailsomethingpretty.com, and sign up for them. And you'll get lots of great tips and tricks and information on paper crafting. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.